But we start, though, with the major international news, a framework agreement that could bring an end to the conflict between the U.S., Israel and Iran. Now, this deal, which is expected to be signed Friday, will bring an immediate halt to hostilities and see the Strait of Hormuz open. It will also kick off 60 days of negotiations to reach a final deal on nuclear issues. Vice President J.D. Vance just a short time ago weighed in on some of the details on CBS Mornings.
As Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said yesterday, you are the architect of this deal, so let's walk through some of this. The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon.
CBS News senior foreign correspondent Imitaz Tyab brings us more from Tel Aviv.
Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, Tehran is taking something of a victory lap now that this agreement has been reached. We still have to wait until Friday for it to be formally signed. That is when the president says the Strait of Hormuz, this vital waterway where 1/5 of the world's energy passes through, will be opened up. But as we've seen throughout these past 3 months, whether it's a time of open war or at a time of ceasefire negotiations, an awful lot can happen within 5 days. So it'll be interesting to see what happens between now and then. One of the key issues, of course, is Israel and its role in Lebanon. It, of course, is engaged in a very bitter fight with the Iranian proxy Hezbollah. Iran saying that this is their red line. If the war does not stop in Lebanon, then they may not have a deal with the U.S. The president himself saying he had, well, frankly, an expletive-laden phone conversation with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday, demanding that the violence there stop. But Israel standing firm, saying that this is not a deal that they are part of. They were not part of the negotiations, and so it is not something that they are party to. Whatever the case, for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he's not only seeing his rivals coming out and criticizing him, he's also seeing his allies criticizing him, all of them piling up, saying that he has essentially been pushed out of the way, and Israel's needs, or Israel's, real sort of, I suppose, needs in this moment are not going to be met by whatever this agreement is, because they believe that Hezbollah still poses a threat. Whatever the case, as we've been saying, the president's saying that that deal will be signed in 5 days' time. Back to you.
All right, Imitaz Tyab, thank you so much. President Trump is currently on his way to Europe for the G7 summit. The president boarded Air Force One from Joint Base Andrews early this morning. Later this hour, he's expected to land in Geneva, where he will board a helicopter to nearby France. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi is in Geneva awaiting the presidential arrival. So, Olivia, how could the U.S. Iran deal impact this week's summit? I mean, it's really going to hang over everything, right?
Yeah, good morning, Adriana. It certainly threatened to hang over this entire summit, casting a cloud on this meeting of the world's biggest economies here in Geneva, where President Trump will be landing and then heading to Evian a short while after that. But now President Trump gets to land with somewhat of a win in his pocket. He says that the ceasefire deal is nearly complete, that there will be a signing here in Switzerland on Friday, and he's promising that this deal is going to be better than what President Obama was able to achieve with the JCPOA during his administration. But take a listen to President Obama pushing back on that this weekend.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place.
Now, Vice President J.D. Vance pushed back on that in an interview that just happened a short while ago on CBS Morning, saying that the difference between this deal and the JCPOA is that now the U.S. is negotiating from a point of strength, saying that the nuclear program in Iran is destroyed, and what they're trying to prevent is them rebuilding that. What he says the JCPOA did was essentially bribe the Iranians into not having a nuclear weapon. But the question on the bribe is really what remains here, because we don't know specifically what is in this deal that has been agreed to by the U.S. and Iran, specifically what sanctions will be released by the U.S. to welcome Iran back into the world economy. So still a lot of questions remaining here, even though as President Trump is going to land, he will be touting this as a significant win for his administration, especially as we're on day, I believe, 107 of the war in Iran.
Yeah, and Olivia, I think that's why it's hard to even call this a deal. It's really a framework agreement to maybe get to a deal. But let's speak more about Vice President J.D. Vance. He just spoke to CBS this morning, and he was pressed by Ed O'Keefe on some of the specifics that are being reported by Iran. So what more did we learn?
Well, a variety of things we learned in that interview. First, that the vice president said the framework of this deal and the text of the deal are going to be revealed at some point this week, saying that the U.S. and Americans will be able to look at it themselves and decide really what's in here, what the U.S. gets out of it. That's notable, of course, because we've been asking for the specifics. He says they will be coming later this week. But the next phase of this will really be the technical negotiations that are going to happen on the nuclear level. You're right, it is a framework. So once that framework, that memorandum of understanding is signed, then they move into 60 days of technical talks. Well, who's a part of these talks? And will the U.S. military be involved in potentially getting out that nuclear dust that remains inside of Iran, which is really the central question about all of that. And our Ed O'Keefe also asked about some of the verification issues that will be happening in these nuclear negotiations. Take a listen to that bite here.
Who's going in to verify, for example, that all the nuclear material has been accounted for? That they're not, in fact, developing some kind of a weapon? Is it U.S. officials? Is it U.S. military forces?
Well, it's going to be a combination, of course, of the United States monitoring and enforcing this thing, but also the IAEA, the organization that sort of has the expertise to ensure that that enriched stockpile is destroyed.
Now, that part is notable there, that the IAEA will be a part of this, because yesterday on Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan asked the defense secretary if they would be a part of it, given that they're the technical body that would really oversee this nuclear material and its removal. Yesterday, Secretary Hegseth said they could be a part of it. Now it appears that they are going to be, per the vice president to our Ed O'Keefe. So we're learning a little bit more detail, just drips and drabs coming out. We're hopeful that when this text comes out that we can learn absolutely what is in here, including what sanctions relief the Iranians are going to have, the access to funds that they may have, as well as a part of their rebuilding efforts. Still a lot of questions remain, though, about what exactly has been agreed to.
All right, Olivia, Rinaldi kicking off our coverage on this. Olivia, thank you.